Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcasting community by estate professionals for estate professionals, where we share the ideas and the access to people that help you work less, earn more, and do good in your community. If you get value in this free content, be sure to check out estateprofessionalsmastermind.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and free courses. To learn more, you can visit estateprofessionalsmastermind.com. Let's jump into this week's episode.
Welcome to our Probate Mastery weekly coaching call for real estate agents and brokers. I'm Bill Gross. I'm a real estate agent, really real estate broker in Los Angeles, California. And my primary business is listing houses, selling houses, getting them in escrow and selling them. But because my goal is to build my business, I'm part of this mastermind every week. And in fact, I host it. And the idea is for us to get together and share best practices, victories, defeats as we grow our business together. And again, I'm a practitioner. I'm not selling a coaching system. I'm not a full-time employee of the company at all. In fact, I'm not anything other than I think good friends with Chad and McKenna. I want to be here to help. And then just to identify where we are in the process, the website is probatemastery.com. And that has the programs that we are based on this program. And just real quick, if you go to the website, you'll see on top, new program, and it's free. So if you're on this, you should check it out. The free lifestyle and career design course, I just found out about today myself. That's free. It's an addition. So if you're on this call, you should participate in that. Anyone in this call should be either a graduate or student of Probate Mastery, the certification course, or have taken the Earn course and paid to be part of this coaching program. This is the Probate Mastery program. If you want to refer that to friends or family or more else colleagues. And this is the Earn program, specifically Earn attorney referrals now to get deep on how to do more business with attorneys. We have a public-facing Facebook group, Estate Professionals Mastermind, with 6,500 members, as well as, whoops, wrong one. How did we get there? Sorry about that. Well, let's just go to the right one. There it is. Probate Mastery Alumni, which is for people who are in or have finished the Probate Mastery program. Separately and personally, I host Probate Weekly, which is an interview program primarily every week, Thursdays at 4 p.m. Love to have you join that. Go to probateweekly.com. You can see the past episodes at episodes.probateweekly.com. And then I have a Facebook group myself called Probate Experts. So love to have you participate in that as well if you'd like to join in. So that's kind of a high level on the programs and such. McKenna put a link in the program in the chat box to the course, to the free courses coming up. So love to have you participate in that. It's on demand. It's not a particular day or time. So love to have you participate in that. So again, as this is meant to be participative, that means raise your hand and ask questions or put something in the chat box. I'm glad to try to go through there as well. And then I'll also go through, that's interesting. What happened there? Chad, I'm looking at my notes. There we go. Love to have you answer questions and participate with you on that as well. So who's got a question or victory or challenge you want to talk about and we can work on together? Raise your hand or put in the chat box. Love to have you participate. Tracy, hand up. Very nice. Let's get you unmuted. Tracy Cheney. And there you are, spotlighted. What's going on, Tracy?
Hey. Well, I just finished session 3 of Probate Mastery, so I'm officially done. Literally, I finished it like an hour ago.
Oh, congratulations.
So it was great. I'm a fire hose of information. I'm a real estate agent. I am not an investor. So a lot of this stuff is, still trying to absorb a lot of that. But my question is, I looked into all the leads as far as like, where do I start now and how do I take off with this? Because I want to go as big with it as I can. When I looked at all the leads in Ventura County, which is my county, there's only 30 available. I'm assuming that means 30 a month. I have no idea about the cost of that. I didn't ask them for a quote or anything. I'm very comfortable with social media and doing videos. I'm very comfortable with cold calling. Where do you recommend I start?
Great question. So some of you may know that Chad, before launching Probate Mastery, had been the coach at alltheleads.com, and he's broken off. And then you may or may not know that separate from all the leads. Chad's made a deal with a competing company that sells data. All the leads, I think, position themselves as a very high-end data source. I don't know that I could say it's true or not true, but I know that's what they position themselves. It's more expensive. They would say it's higher quality data. Through Chad's program, US Probate Data is a vendor that's less expensive, and there's a discount, I think, of 15%, something like that. And I think probably McKenna will put the link in if you're looking to buy data. But here's the thing I would say first. Tracy, you're in Ventura County, California.
Yeah.
You're a real estate agent. Are you a new agent, experienced agent, superstar agent? Where are you in your progression?
I've been an agent since about 2018. But I mostly was in the property management space for a while. So as far as, you know, I don't consider myself a new agent, but I've probably closed five listings because I spent most of my time doing property management.
Got it. So five listings in the last 5 years. You're newer, but looks like you got some momentum. And so I think, let me go back and just say, the right answer is always the right answer for you, not the right answer. And I think that, you know, some of these coaching companies, not naming names, you know, they're in the business of selling nails, and they're just going to hammer on you and call you a nail and bang on you till you figure it out. That's what they want you to do. I take the opposite approach, which I think, and again, I'm not selling any of this, so I don't really care. I just like to see you be successful, that you need to find the right answer for you in your business. So let's go a little deeper on that. You've sold 5 listings. How many people do you have in your database, what I would call your center of influence, your sphere of influence, your Keller Williams, your Mets? How many people do you know, like, and trust that know, like, and trust you? You have their name, and you could contact them if you wanted to.
I probably have 200.
Great. So I would say the minimum you should have 100. And if you're married, I saw wedding ring, 200, because you got your husbands, family, friends, vendors, doctors, dentists, you have kids, even more. So at a minimum, and you should be adding about 100 a year. It should be your goal. I mean, you should be meeting somebody about every other workday. That I'm not talking about just you meet them and you grab their name and number off Facebook. I mean, you meet them, they go, oh, here's my name and number. Yes, stay in touch. You're a realtor. We're thinking of buying someday, not soon, someday, whatever. That you're the real estate resource. So you should be constantly adding people in your database. And I think the most important thing for all real estate agents is to look at that database as your business. That funnel of everybody you know should go into one place. You're always looking to add in the additional data points. If you have the name and the phone number, you want to add their email to send out, you know, information to them regularly. You want to connect with them on social media, whatever that means to you, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, wherever you social media. But you should be positioned as the real estate resource for all those people. That's your goal. And I think in the probate space, you can add in content about probate, how to solve probate problems, or how to avoid probate, estate planning. And I recommend to agents to send out at least an email to your whole database once a week to every single person you have. I actually have a workshop I've done called Setting Up Your Content Creation System. And what I do, just to give a quick 3-minute overview, is I have my schedule every week, an hour. I do it on Sundays because that works for me, Sunday night, where I read through content. I find things I like. What I used to do is I would just write a few sentences summarizing an article and link the article. Then I add in an image to the article at some point. And then later, I would just read what I wrote as a video, record the video, send the video out with a link of the content. And now I have a YouTube channel. I have just under 2,000 subscribers. In fact, you're welcome to go to my YouTube channel, shameless plug, youtube.com/BillGrossEXP. And you can check my probate content there. But what I'd say is that you want to be building your own content. And that way, as you meet new people in probate, whether you're going to cold call 4 hours a day or not, at best, you're going to talk to people who are going to give their name, their phone number, their email, and say, stay in touch with me. You have to have the system up and running. And it's the same thing that help you sell 5 houses and could sell 10 houses next year. And we could add in some probate on top of that. So I would start off with the idea that you have to have that fundamental system in place. And then the next question is, what are you going to do for lead generation? And lead generation, you can phone call, you can network in person, you can door knock, you can go to networking events, or you can create enough social media where people call you. But that should be on top of your base fundamental system, which is contacting everybody that you ever meet, because at some point they're going to buy or sell a house and you want to be the person they turn to.
Okay. A lot of my contacts are out of the area because we moved quite a bit. So I don't know that I have, I certainly don't have that many locally, but I guess there's benefit in contacting everybody. You just never know what that might lead to.
Number one. Number two, if they like you, know you, and trust you, they're going to watch your content. They're going to open your emails or going to watch your videos. So of course, you want to keep those people on your list as well. And then there's referrals. So I would say that don't let that hold you back. Just maybe you need to meet more people, okay? But you got to start with something. And so you have what you have, start with that, and then add on top of that. That's my best recommendation. As far as buying data, some real estate agents are cold callers and some aren't. If you're the kind of person who's going to block out time and make phone calls. Now, you said Ventura, where you were, there's only 30. The truth is, I know Ventura market pretty well. You don't have a lot of probates. It skews higher income, and probate in California tends to skew lower income. So in California, for example, LA County, we have 500 probates a month. In Ventura, you have about 30.
Wow.
So I think that you can call all 30. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think better would be to try to find out, well, who are the attorneys doing probate in Ventura? And then I also think, well, who do you know who knows one of those attorneys? Or who do you know who knows one of the paralegals in those offices? And try to build a relationship with those people. Okay. And the challenge of being in a smaller market is there's less numbers. The opportunity is you tend to have a more intimate relationship with people. LA is very anonymous. Mm-hmm. Smaller communities tend to be more personable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about maybe getting to know the attorneys and offering to do like interviews with them on my Facebook page and like promoting them without asking for anything in return and just kind of see how that goes.
That's what I do. That's what I do. So I do those interviews all the time. If you check out my YouTube channel, you'll see I interview probably 1 or 2 a week. And then I have an interview podcast I do weekly as well. In fact, I have an interview this week with a big, what is his name? The probate guy. He's out of the Midwest somewhere, and he does hundreds of probates in numerous states. And so that's a little different than my normal attorney who's local. But definitely, I would, if I was in Ventura, I love Ventura, I would get a list of all the attorneys doing probates and estate planning. And I would interview them as a way to promote business with them, as well as try to find where they are and get with them, whether it be, is there a Ventura Bar Association? What's that look like? Now, sometimes the bar meetings have more realtors than attorneys. I wouldn't do that. Sometimes there's no realtors there. That's where I'd want to be. Right. So it just depends on your plan. Okay.
Okay. All right. That's super helpful. Thank you.
Sure, Tracy. Thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on getting it finished. And please come back and share with us your progress. Okay.
Sure will. Thank you.
Okay. So I got a couple of questions here. What percentage of weekly email content should be related to real estate? Charles, I don't know if you want to jump in here. We can talk a little bit. Again, I think the right answer is not the answer, but the right answer is the right answer for you. And I know I've talked to you before, Charles, if I remember right, you moved from like the Midwest to somewhere in Naples?
Washington, D.C. area.
From Washington to Naples. So you're newer to Naples. That was one of the issues. So your question is, what percentage should be related to real estate? I think the answer is, what is your value proposition to your customers? And this is a question Charles' answer is not right for everybody. Your own answer is right for you. So my question to Charles is, if I was a local Naples area homeowner, why would I want to do business with you versus the other 2 million realtors that live in Naples, Florida?
Darn good question. I like your idea of providing content out there, both in the email format and the YouTube format. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to figure out, because I haven't admittedly looked at your YouTube channel, so I plead guilty to that. I didn't realize that. But beyond that, I'm thinking, are we talking 50-50? Some real estate, some non-real estate?
Well, again, I think, and I did a whole segment, I think, once on building your brand. But what I would say is, before you get into the tactics, you need to know what the target is. So what's the value proposition that you're looking to create with your prospective customers? Once you can answer that, then the tactics become more clear. When that answer is not clear, it's very hard to do. realtors say all the time, I don't know what to say. Well, that's because you're not clear on who you're talking to and what you're supposed to be bringing to them. I'll give you an example. There are people that I see that are young, dynamic, energetic, fun, and they're looking to appeal to customers on that basis. That's great. That's not me. That's them. And if that's who you are, then your content needs to reflect that. It has to be authentic to you. Me, I would say I'm more thoughtful, more logical, more content focused. So my content is almost all related to real estate, a little bit of motivation, an occasional piece about me personally. So occasionally I'll do a video when I'm swimming, or occasionally I'll do a video with a family member, but 95% of me is content focused, because if you know me, that's really who I am. I'm pretty serious. I'm pretty interested in what I do, and I'm not really into kind of the funs and games and traveling. To me, I would rather go to a company for vacation. For me, would it be Orlando, Florida during a company convention? I would love that. Daytime convention, afternoons by the pool. Hell on earth would be spending a whole week touring museums in Europe. I couldn't imagine doing that. I'd be bored to tears. No judgment. That's just me. So you have to be you. And I would ask you, so what value do you create to your customers? You want to think of I hate to use the word Venn diagram because let's become a political term of late, but I would say the intersection of three things where you want to place yourself. Where you are good, or where you create value, what you enjoy doing, and what the market needs. And so for me, when I started this process, I enjoyed going to court. COVID changed all that, but I'll go back to my original plan. I enjoyed going to court. I found that there was a need for people to learn the legal process of probate and the strategies and the technical details. And I enjoyed doing it. And so that was what I came up with, going to court every day as my lead generation technique. And I did that. When COVID came around, I couldn't go to court anymore. So I looked and said, well, what can I do? Well, I know that people need the technical content, and I enjoyed, hosting calls like this. So I did my own, and I got invited to do this one by Chad at some point. So I enjoy doing this. I think I'm good at it. And I believe my market, there's enough of a market that needs what I'm doing that I provide that. So you have to find that area, the intersection for yourself. And then the content comes from that. And I think once you're clear on your focus, the ideas for content become never ending, because you're doing what you enjoy, you're doing what you think the market needs, and you're doing also a skill that you think you're good at. It might be video content. It might not be. It might be writing content. It might be going in person. I don't know. But you have to find that niche for yourself to answer the question. So when you talk about real estate, for me, I would say 99% of my content is related to probate or real estate.
Probate or real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So of the probate, how much of it's related to real estate as opposed to pure probate?
So on probate, I'm trying to go as broad as to cover the topic as fully as possible. I want to be, my goal, I'm not saying I'm there yet. I don't want to be sound arrogant, but my goal is to be the probate industry expert in real estate. So that means to me, knowing all the vendors and all the pieces of the puzzle, and also knowing it nationally rather than just in my local area, because there are things that happen in other markets that don't happen maybe in my area that help make me better at what I do. So I interview pretty obscure, probate bonds, probate advance companies. I've tried to interview everyone, probate data companies, of course, attorneys, paralegals. I've had court employees I've interviewed. So I'm trying to go as wide as I can to be seen. I want an attorney to go, geez, this guy knows everything about probate. I need to ask him. That's my goal. Right? I want attorneys to say, I need him to do my probates, not because they like me or know me and trust me, but because it would be silly for them not to use me. I make their business more effective as a result of working with me. That's my goal.
I appreciate the answer. I'll take it to heart. Thank you.
Okay, good. Come back and let us know your progress, okay?
Will do.
Thanks, Charles. Okay, hand up Angela Sanders. Angela, what's up with you? Let's get you unmute. Oops, I actually unmuted and I muted you. Sorry about that. Where are you?
Unmute, I got it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Thank you very much. I am also newer to the group, just finished my module 3 as well. So it's great to hear some of the questions earlier. I myself am coming from the more on the investor side. So I already have probate leads that I'm getting through a source that has confirmed real estate involved for newer probate cases. And going through the module, this very much resonates with me. I do not have an interest in what you see in the typical wholesaling space and cold calling. It makes me cringe. But I really value this as a niche because it is definitely an opportunity to get in there and provide a service and help these families. So my question is, similar to the question that was asked before, I'm starting at a different point. I do have a rockstar realtor that is near me that has worked with me helping families in pre-foreclosure situations. And at some point I will definitely be looking to get my license as well. But just to establish myself, I am comfortable. Like, I'm wondering if I should be, I love that Chad describes it as warm calling. So I'm targeting to start warm calling this week, but I'm just wondering, just to start getting everything established, should, would the advice from this group be more just some of the content that you were mentioning to kind of get established? I'm not coming with that realtor background. I'm more kind of coming in a little cold in a sense, or at least it seems like it. Well, but I've looked in this area and there's not a very, I'm in the Chicago area and I have not seen a very high presence just doing Google searches with companies that specialize with this niche in my area. I'm sure they're there. They're just not very visible.
I would agree with you. Off the top of my head, I can't name any either. And I'm pretty tight in nationally. So it really depends on what your goal is. So when you ask, well, what should I do? I'm going to go back to, well, what do you want to accomplish? What's your goal?
My goal is to establish this as a business and to work with families. And then obviously, whether we're realtors or coming in as investors, we have interest down the road from an investment perspective, but it's really just to establish this as a business.
Okay, but establish business means you're looking for families to raise their hand, say, I need help with this property, where you'd step in as a principal and buy the property as investor.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that again, that gets down to, where there's a market need, what you're good at and what you want to do. And so if you said to me, Bill, I love door knocking. I got one of my best friends. I want to say that he's a good friend in my community. He made a huge living. He and his partner every day door knocked a certain square in this Los Angeles area. It was like this side of San Fernando Valley, this side of some other boulevard, and between these two boulevards. But literally, there's a square, and they just started at one end and went to the other end and went back every 90 days. And they knew every single house in that area. They did that for like 15 years. They love to door knock. I wouldn't do it, but they love it. They're also more comfortable physically in a security setting that I wouldn't be. Like, I used to work at a liquor store in South LA, so he wasn't worried about being jumped. I wouldn't be comfortable doing that, but he loved it. He loved being outdoors. He loved door knocking. I used to cold call 3-4 hours a day on the phone. I loved cold calling at that stage of my career. So the question is, what do you like to do, and what are you good at? I think that you have to find the right way to contact people, and you have to talk to a lot of people. That's, at the end of the day, there's no math that does include you reaching out and contacting a lot of people. Either you door knock them, you phone call them, or your social media presence is so strong, you have that many people coming into you to work through. But to answer your question, what do you want to do that fits that criteria?
Got it. Okay. I've already started with a mailer campaign. That information has figured all that out. So I am comfortable cold calling, although not my favorite thing in the world, and that's why I really enjoy that it's referred to as warm calling here. But I am comfortable with doing that. So really it's just a matter of, I do think that for this particular area, I do think that establishing that website and starting to add that content will probably be the next good step, but okay.
And if you can target the people you're calling and mailing to with the content, by creating a Facebook group that targets that group, then all the better. Right now you're calling, we've seen you on Facebook and we're seeing your postcard rather than than just one or the other.
Right. Okay.
Good. Okay, good. Well, again, come back and let us know how that works out for you. Thanks, Angela. Okay, and so I see another hand up is, or not. What happened to the hand up? No, I know there's a hand. Maybe not. Okay, well, there you go. I see the little icon for the hand. Whoever it is, if you unmute yourself, jump in. I can't figure out where you are.
I think that was me. If it was only one person who.
There you go. Yeah, millionaire lid.
Yeah, I meant to have my real name up there, but we'll change that later.
Okay.
Hello, greetings, Bill. How are you?
Good. Who's this?
This is Khalid, out of New Jersey, NJ Transitions. I'm an agent investor. My question was, I have a lot of people who wanted to get into the space, but they are used to, a 2-week 9-to-5 paycheck. And a lot of questions that they were asking me, because, it could take anywhere from 30 days to 90 days to close a transaction. And sometimes even longer than that. So what are some quote unquote real estate side hustles that you would recommend somebody that's kind of new to the business take on, or what would be your comments or advice on that?
When I feel like you're really building a business, then they have to work together. So a side hustle that doesn't really help you with your business is going to tear you apart from the business.
Okay.
So what do I mean by that? So for example, I saw a guy once in an Uber who was a realtor. He had tires, he had business cards. I don't know if that's legal or not by Uber standards, but he was generating real estate business while driving in neighborhoods and while driving Uber around. And if they work together, great. Otherwise, I think you're making it harder. In probate, what I love is probate advances, because you can have people cold call, not for a probate listing or probate investment, but cold call families, say, hey, no, you filed for probate, and we have a program where we can advance you $10,000 within 7 days to help you with expenses regarding the property or your probate case, or just get advance in your therapies. Would that be something you'd be interested in talking about? And I have those people refer those leads to me, because often those same people who need the advance need it because their attorney's no good, they're stuck in the mud, they filed on their own without an attorney because they couldn't afford one, now got the money to get a good attorney. And so my numbers worked out to be where a cold caller could call that list and average about $25 an hour if they did that for a 30-day period. And so now they're getting paid some money. I'm sorry, $15 an hour. They're getting paid some money, but they're also generating leads that can lead to investments and or listings, depending on where they are in the business. So I think the best side hustle, to use your term, for somebody looking to start out who needs some cash right away would be a probate invest, because they can literally get paid on that within 7 days.
Got you. So you saying basically work on the business to generate business, and go about it in a way where you provide value up front and don't and basically don't have a contingency plan. Work on the business and don't try to split your focus.
Doesn't work. I mean, when people tell me, well, I'm doing DoorDash and doing Uber, while I'm doing real estate, I always feel like it's just about time to burn out and they're out of the business. Because you don't have the energy to put into it. It takes a lot of energy to build a business as well as time. So I just don't see that really working from my experience. And I'm sure people do it. I'm sure there's stories of people, and you see YouTube videos all the time. So-and-so who worked some side hustle while they started real estate and they made it. But it's only interesting because they're 1 in a million. The other 999,000 didn't make it because it's just too challenging to do part-time. And I think there's also something about being committed to something. If you're not committed to it, then I just think you're not really going to put the time and effort in to get the job done.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Bill.
Sure. Thanks, man. Thanks, Cleve. Grace says, great idea with the attorneys. Thanks. I don't know what you're thanking me for and what you're calling a great idea, Grace, but I'll take anybody who wants to say it was a great idea and just say thank you for the compliment. Dave Pennell says, watch this. I'm not sure what watch that's about, Dave, but if you want to check that out, it's there. Carol asked, can we access these recordings at a later time? I think the answer is no, they're not available on demand anymore. They used to all be immediately streamed on YouTube, but this is for members only of the Probate Mastery or those who pay for the coaching. So they're not available. There'll be clips and pieces of it on the YouTube channel. And I think we'll be putting on older episodes on the YouTube channel as well, but we don't have like an on-demand system where you could look at today's call later this week, I don't believe. McKenna, is that correct?
Actually, nope. We do have these calls posted on YouTube.
I'm totally wrong. Just say, no, Bill, you're totally wrong. Would be the first time. These are posted on YouTube then. Okay, there you go.
YouTube and then also our podcast as well.
There you go. Okay, so I stand corrected. Because moving so faster, I can't keep track. Carl says, thank you. You're welcome, Carl. I'm not sure what that's for. Oh, that's from McKenna. Fine. And good. Any other questions or hands? I don't see any now. I wanted to kind of go over real quick. You might notice on Probate Mastery, there's a scholarship recipient, Raquel Burden, who got a scholarship to the Probate Mastery course. And so that's part of Chad's program to help people who are committed to this business and help them grow and so on. And then Sheila asked, I don't think Sheila's on this call. She put a post on the State Professional Mastermind. Let me put that up real quick. Looking from people that are having success, either Probate Mastery or another probate system, means you learn the system, you have a great GCI, gross commission income, is a real estate term, gross commission income. As a result of doing the probate niche, we've been told we need to get in front of people, but I found that letters that were sent out were not taken well. There's absolutely nothing about wanting to sell their home, and really the letter was sent with nothing but a servant mindset for wanting to help them with the process. Feedback, comments appreciated. So one thing I would always ask is, where are you doing business at? And she was not on the call, I don't think, so I can't really ask her. So a couple of things I would say there. I'm a person who used this Probate Mastery niche, and I saw a video the other day for somebody who grossed over $1 million in the last 3 years. I found that category. I went from zero production 4 years ago, coming out of management. I knew the business, I knew the product, of real estate, I knew the service. But I'd have one lead, I have one listing, I didn't have any business 4 years ago, March 1st. And I've done over $300,000 in gross commission in the last 3 years. I'm over 60 years old. I don't have the energy I had when I was young. Quite frankly, I have a pretty active family life. I don't have the same ambition even to do a lot more than that. And I built a nice business that's growing with some additional side revenue. So I think I fit that category that Sheila's asking about as somebody who's used this system methodology. Now, what I will say is I don't do direct mail and I don't cold call. I did when I started. And like Sheila, I found the letters didn't get the response that I wanted. I think the letters work better in smaller markets and more, I don't think the word's rural, but suburban and then whatever before rural, near rural markets where people are friendlier and more neighborly. I think in LA, the average family is getting 30 pieces of mail, number one. Number two, in bigger metro markets. I think number two, in metro markets, people are more anonymous. So it's harder to establish relations, particularly through the mail. I do think it can be a component, it can be a piece of things, but I don't think that. I listen to companies sell, just mail this out and you'll get business. And I know that that works for less than 1% of people who try it. The other thing I would say is I don't believe the companies who do the mailing generally tell you all that's required to be successful with mail. When you work the numbers out, they'll say things like we have a 1 to 2.5% response ratio. Well, that's a big difference. 1 to 2.5% is like 100 to 250. That's a big variance. The average should be one of those numbers. It should be that range. The fact that it's that range tells me they're not scientific about it. And then also, what are they counting? My experience is they'll say if you mail out 100 pieces over 6 or 8 months, one of those or 2.5 of those 100 will come to you. But that's requiring now 6 or 8 mailers, not just 100 mailers. And so your ratio, your direct response ratio goes down. Now, I know there are people here who do some mailing and had some success with it. I think it's great. But I don't think that's the consistent results that people get overall just by mailing. I do think it requires phone calls as well. And even the companies that sell the data and the mailing will tell you have to make phone calls as well. And their coaching calls are full of people who will say, I've mailed out, I've never made phone calls. My rule would be I would never mail something to somebody who's not willing to call or haven't already talked to. Because I think to mail something cold, I just think the results are just not going to give you the rate of return that you would want for your business. That's my experience. So anyhow, Sheila, hopefully that helps a little bit. You can push in the right direction. Let's see, what else do we have? And then I think that's the main one that I wanted to talk about today. Group coaching, we have this call every week. And then Michael Lund asked about pre-probate leads. So I know there are companies that sell that data. Who pre-probate leads are, somebody dies, that data is collected by the federal government, because nowadays on death certs, you have Social Security numbers, and that's done to prevent bank fraud. And then there are companies that take that data, the deaths, and then they cross-reference that name to people who own property. And then they claim that they've vetted that data and that those phone numbers to the people who actually own the property. Now you're calling somebody who's died who owns property. The question is, well, who's answering the phone if that person died? If they're calling their home, is being forwarded or not? Here's what I'll say about pre-probate data. I don't know anybody who's doing it and making a living at it. I know companies who sell it, they're making a living at it. But I've never met anybody. And if you're on this call and you've used probate data and you're making a business, feel free to raise your hand, share with other people. But I don't know anybody. And I talk to a lot of people in this business. I don't know anybody who's doing it and is enjoying success from it. So again, let's say that you can't. And I think in smaller markets, that's just another way to reach out to your neighbors. I think that might work. But in larger metro markets, I think that you're probably not going to get a rate of return that's going to be a consistent business for you. Okay. Did I miss the part where you said makes us what was a little bit of everything? Emilia says, did I miss the part where you said what made you successful? Or was a little bit of everything? I'm in LA, I just feel like I'm struggling. So Emilia, I think that she's asking, did I not say how I built my business? No, I didn't say it, because the question was, do you know anybody who's done it? What I would say is that I took Probate Mastery and it helped me not be a cold calling sales animal, but help me understand how I could create value for people who had a problem. The problem they have is inherited property that's of value, but they didn't know how to convert it into money quickly. And so what I did was I evaluated the market, what people need, what I like to do, and what I'm good at. Initially, that combination worked out to me going to court every day. So I'm in LA as well. And I used to go to court every morning. I was there at 7:45 to about 10:45. And I would prospect at the courthouse for leads and for people. When COVID hit, that didn't work anymore because the court was closed. So I moved myself to online, and I interview vendors and attorneys and people in probate real estate, and use the social media to market myself to people who can refer me business: investors, wholesalers, realtors, attorneys, and vendors. So that's what I do now, is I use my expertise to position myself with those people. And Amelia, if you're interested in individual, give me a call. And also on tomorrow night or Thursday night, I'll be at the LA REIC event here in Culver City area. I'd love to meet you in person sometime if I could help you. So I hear you're struggling. If you want to come on the call, if you want to meet yourself, I'd be glad to go into more detail with you. Tracy says, can I go into more detail about how I go into court, how we build my business? You haven't gone yet. Tracy, I have the memory of Annette, I think. Remind me, where do you do business? Oh, Ventura County. So what I would say is, to everybody on this call, the same challenge that Chad gave me when I took Probate Mastery is somewhere in the course. And I'm the kind of person that when I listen to a teacher, sometimes they'll make a good point and I'm listening and thinking about that one point for like an hour and I don't listen to the next hour's content because I try to put it to use. But and because my father was an attorney, as a kid, I'd been to court, maybe also, I was more comfortable with the idea, but he really challenged us to go once. And so I would challenge anybody that's called to go to the probate court at least once and do a recon of everything that's there. Where might your customer, where might your referral source attorney go, what's that experience like? What days of the week do they do? How many rooms are there? Is there coffee? Where's the Starbucks? Where's the coffee shop? Can you make copies while you're there? Can you get documents while you're there? And when I got to LA, what I learned was there's 9 probate departments. There was a probate research room. There was a coffee shop. There was a cafeteria on the top. There was a beautiful view where attorneys hang out. There's a Starbucks where attorneys hang out. Once I had all the information and how the system worked, I put together a plan that worked for me. So I don't know that I have the answer because we're all in different counties, but I would say, Tracy, you're in Ventura. I suspect probate's probably 1 day a week. It's probably only 1 courtroom. I don't know. But I would go, I'd find out when it was, when they host them. How do you find out the data? How do you, are there here? Is the hearing list posted on the wall outside? Is there a room where you get the documents? I would want to find out everything and be able to set expectations for customers who are going so that when you talk to a petitioner who has a hearing date next week, you'd say, oh, by the way, Tracy, I know are you going to go in person? Oh, great. There's a Starbucks right down the hall, or there's a beautiful cafeteria on top if you're there afterwards to meet with a beautiful view of the valley, whatever it is true for you.
Bill, is the best way to do that just to, do I need to make, like, on the Ventura County Court website, it says that there's no just walk-ins for the clerk. You have to make an appointment to see the clerk. Should I make an appointment and just say, hey, I just want to learn about getting data and see what you have here? Or would they be like, go away?
I'm not sure. I'd have to read it, but I would say that usually when they say no walk-ins, that means you can't walk in to record a document. You just make an appointment to record something with a clerk. Or if you want to research, you want to pull documents, you have to make an appointment to do that. There was a time in LA to get a copy of a certified, to get a document copied and then certified by the LA County, by the clerk, you had to make an appointment to do that. Not true today. So I don't know what they're referring to, but I would either make the appointment or I would just walk in and walk around knowing that you can't meet with a clerk, but you still can see where's the court hearing held. Okay. When are they held? Are they held at 8:30 or 9? Some courts have an 8:30 calendar. LA has an 8:30 calendar, a 10:30 calendar, a 1:30 calendar. They're all different items on those different calendars. So I would do my recon and figure that out in person. I wouldn't wait to make an appointment to go there. I also learned when you walk around the court in LA, there's bulletin boards. They have different programs, like the LA Law Library is across the street, and they have a program once a month for petitioners on probate. And by the way, that's online now on Zoom. So I took that class and found out who the attorney was who's doing that class as well. So again, just walking around, you're going to find stuff you're not going to find out otherwise.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay. Any other questions? I don't see any hands up. I think we covered all the questions in the chat box. I think we covered all in the Facebook group.
Hey, Bill.
This is yes.
If I could add on a little bit for Tracy's question. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, Tracy, that I would say is that other than Bill's LA County, most of these courts are very small. Even populous counties, right? Santa Clara County, it's still 2 million people, but it's a fairly compact courtroom, et cetera. So you're going to run into the same attorneys. You're going to run into the same staff, the same people, repeatedly, right? So you're building relationships with people, solving their problems. When you get the lead, I don't know if you're doing the ATL leads or whoever it is, whatever your sorts of leads is, and they say, here's a list of this month's probate leads. First thing I do is I go to the column that says who has an attorney, who doesn't. And then I sort for that. And then the first thing I do is I pay attention to the attorneys that have more than one, right? And over a period of time, you're going to find out who's doing this a ton, right? One of the probate attorneys in Alameda County, who I always saw doing 3 or 4 a month, actually turned out to be a mentee of my business partner. He knew her very well. And so getting an introduction and talking to her and figuring out what she liked in her career and what she was looking for was easy. But had I not done that, I wouldn't know who to talk to, right? Okay. All of these universes are very small. The probate world is extremely small. The judges learn the staff's name, learn their roles. Okay. And every county does something slightly different, even here in the Bay Area. They all have different names and different roles. And you got to learn the unspoken rules are the hard ones to learn. So in Santa Clara County, we have a probate attorney, and I think we have at least two examiners, if not 3. Other counties have none. San Mateo County, next door to us, very affluent county, doesn't even bother having examiners and no probate attorney. Getting somebody to answer your questions before you go into court is brutal. And then you have larger counties, they have crazy stuff. The one thing I'll tell you, which is advice I got when I was in my second year of law school, I worked at a big law firm, treat the people there who are, who are the staff, from the janitor up, with a maximum respect. Absolutely. These people move mountains for you. My running joke is, we had a probate attorney, Bob Collier, here in Santa Clara County for way past my career, like 30, 40 years. And my running joke, which I proved out to be a liar, is I said, when he retires, I will, because I don't want to operate this court without his help, right? He is the gentleman that runs, probate court judges come on a cycle in our county every 2 to 3 year cycle. And they come in from civil, they go, right? Bob was there for 3-4 decades, and his word went. The judge looked at him. And when you sit in court as a spectator, right, when my case is called last, I sit there and watch everyone else's. The body language is amazing to pick up, because the judge is almost in a deferential position to him, because he has institutional knowledge on how things are done. He's an actual attorney, a JD, not a clerk, not a examiner. He's the real deal, and the courts always defer to him. What's hilarious is you see idiot attorneys who come in from other courts who don't know the ropes and speak to him without maximum respect. It's like, I don't think you understand who the power behind the throne is here. They'd sit there and like try to argue him down. I'm like, you have zero idea how this court works. The judge is never going to contradict him. You're wasting your breath trying. So
that's absolutely true. Always show
in each county, each county know who the power brokers are.
Right.
Treat them all with respect. That's just the course of life, but also understand who can get things that you need. Don't waste your time. Right. And again, every court's different. Some are friendly and easily approachable. Some, like, ones by me, are nasty. So you just got to figure out who it is. But that's the benefit of going to court. All these unspoken rules. It's easy to go on the internet and read the written rules, the local rules, all that stuff. It's the unspoken rules that will make or break your career.
Well, I will go this week. Thank you.
Good. Please come back to us and report back your results, okay?
Sure will.
Good, thanks. And John, thank you for your input. Appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely, going there, for example, there's a coffee shop on the second floor of LA County, which is kind of like the first floor, where about half the probate rooms are. And I always over tip when I buy a cup of coffee, because occasionally, if you ever need something printed, that's the closest place to get something printed. And I've had them see me waiting in line, say, I can help you. And like, and a attorney said, well, who are you that you cut the line? I said, well, I tip her all the time. So that's why I'm paying the extra buck for a cup of coffee, so that I get that kind of service. That's some of the inside baseball. Casey, patiently with your hand up. What do you got? Let's get you unmuted. And what's going on?
Yeah, thank you. So I just finished the course last week. I feel like this is kind of right up my alley as far as what I'm good at and what I'm passionate about. Been an agent for almost 10 years. Worked on the investing side, rehabbing and stuff for 3 years. And I was in financial advising for almost 10 years. So this is just kind of a really sweet spot for me. I guess I'm having trouble with the attorneys. I'm calling and kind of getting stuck at gatekeepers, and maybe John can jump in here because he's obviously famous from the course. But as far as I feel like getting in front of attorneys, once I'm there and I'm able to explain what I'm able to do, I've got attorneys saying, hey, you have an incredible skill set. I would love to work with you. But so I'm in St. Louis, and I'm getting just in St. Louis County, about 100 leads a month on probate filings. So it's quite a long list. And that's not even in another county that I'm hoping to get into as well. So I don't know. I guess with my skill set, I'm feeling overwhelmed, but getting in with the attorneys is going to be one of the best ways to move forward.
Well, hold on one second. You're a real estate agent or investor? I missed that part.
All of the above.
Okay, so you're a real estate agent and investor.
Mm-hmm.
You said that when you get to talk to an attorney, your value proposition is clear.
Yeah.
So then the only question is, how do you get a chance to talk to more attorneys?
Yeah. And so I'm taking your challenge. I'm going to head to the court here in St. Louis County and St. Charles County, and try to drum it up that way and be consistent there, because I feel like getting in front of those folks would be good. But
okay.
Yeah.
When you go, so a couple things I'd say also. So when you're with them, you already have the hard part done. The hard part is creating a value proposition. You've already, based on feedback, been able to do that. How do you get in front of more people? And the answers can be a little different in every geography. It could be going to court, though some courts are almost empty because everything can be online. So you have to assess in your county what that looks like. Some attorneys have said to me, I'm never going to go to court if I can go online. Others go regularly because they appreciate going in person. That's their call, but you need to look at those numbers. Second, where else do attorneys hang out? Is there a bar association? And can you sign up as an affiliate and go to events there? I don't like to be one of 20 realtors with 10 attorneys at an event, but if I could be the only realtor, I would go. So you have to assess kind of where do they hang out and that kind of thing. But it sounds to me like your only job is to reach out to more attorneys, because when you get them, you're already able to create some value for them. John, do you have any kind of input as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking actually yesterday, I had a good call with Sherry Lynn on this exact subject. Always lead with value, find out what it is that they need in their career and how you can help them. The example I gave, I think probably my very first interview with Chad, is I had an example from a probate. This is, I think, 2007. This is a long time ago. And and the reason I give the date is because this shows the huge value of this realtor / investment group, right? So we had a probate. It was slated to close on Friday. Monday, the house had to sell. If the house didn't sell by Monday, that means close, cash out, escrow, money change hands. Nobody was getting paid on Friday. The case wasn't closing. It was about 3-month delay, looking at about average, okay? On Monday afternoon, the deal collapsed. The realtor who had brought that to the table said, don't worry about it. I have cash backups. I have cash buyers ready to go. And he literally put together an all cash offer on an $800,000 deal and closed it by Wednesday, which meant that I got paid on Friday and the clients got their money and they were happy, and they were happy with us, right? Gave us good testimonials to their friends and colleagues. Everybody was a winner. That realtor, my joke name for him was he's the magician, right? He conjured up a deal and saved it. That was something that he did for me and for my law firm and for our clients, that, you know, I can get 1,000 realtor business cards if I want to, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be in this space because it seems easy, but it actually isn't. Building the relationships is inescapable and fundamental. That's what Bill's talking about. And going to court, he's building relationships with everybody, attorneys down to the person serving you coffee, the entire staff, right? Build those relationships, go to court, find them in the wild. You're not going to find them in their office, frankly. So find out where they hang out, bar associations, estate planning councils. There's a national group of estate planning councils. Create, you know, what Sherry's doing. She's creating a Facebook group. You know, Chad talks about that. Got to get to that, right? Create the Facebook group for probate in St. Louis or whatever county, whatever market you're in. Invite them in, put them on as speakers. There's all the stuff that you can do that really, really, really helps their career, the attorneys and the other people you're dealing with, and costs you next to nothing other than time, right? It's not a huge, I mean, Bill puts in a crazy amount of hours in producing his videos and trainings and podcasts. And yet it's not like it's tens of thousands of dollars. It's a ton of time, but you're building phenomenal relationships that grow your business. And Bill's example of how much he's made from that is all a testimonial to somebody who has built his entire referral base on giving value and leading with value. That's what Bill does, right? So that's where you have to come from, that mindset. Create yourself a Facebook group, create YouTube videos. I was watching I'm getting ready to start a podcast for myself on elder law, taking care of our parents and family caregivers, all the good stuff, right? So I've been doing a bunch of research and podcast, and there's a lady who actually specializes how to build your career off being a guest on other people's podcasts, right? Mm-hmm. Not something I really want to do, but some people do it. And she said, what's amazing is you can take that exact principle and flip it when you're the podcast host, or you're the video host, or the Facebook group moderator. If somebody appears and you have a 40-minute conversation with somebody, an estate planning attorney, a probate attorney, somebody who does probate inheritance, somebody who does cash, flippers, whatever it is that you're bringing to the table, they can, if they are even somewhat sophisticated, they can take that 40-minute podcast appearance and turn that into a month of social media marketing for themselves, not you, for them. And guess what? They're sending all the social media just back to your podcast, to your website. That's just leading with value and what you can do for them. And so when attorneys and everybody else in your community sees that this Facebook group and YouTube and all the stuff that you're doing on the website is really value driven, of providing, we lead with value that we provide to the attorneys, we lead with value that we provide to the other professionals in this space, then you're not going to have a problem getting business, and you're not going to have problems having people track you down.
And it sounds like you have those conversations already. I would say try to find a way to leverage those by putting in social media. And I would go to court and bump into people there if I were you, because it sounds like the more you talk to attorneys, you already accomplished the harder part, which is knowing what to say and how to say it. It's just getting more chances at bats. So just give yourself, if one more baseball games, you'll get more at bats. So that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. I don't have a website, then I think creating a Facebook page would probably be really good. So we'll start there.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
good.
I appreciate it.
Come back and let us know how you did on that. Okay. Okay. Last question. Hand up. I see. I lost Grace. Let's get you unmuted. And I don't know if you have video or not. If you can start it, great. What's your question? How can we help you?
Hi, Bill. I have a question. I just sold a house next door, and I noticed that the house next to it was vacant. So as I was checking on it, I see that the owner had passed away early last year. So when I was looking at it, I recently took a CRS probate course too, and they couldn't answer this because we haven't seen this. But on 1026, they created a caveat by the creditor. What does that mean?
Well, what state are you in?
Florida. I mean, the Panhandle.
There's some terminology, I'm sure it relates to something we do in California, but I don't recognize the term caveat to creditor. Some sort of lien, maybe, I would guess.
That's what I was thinking, because it went in so quick. They did it on 1026, and then the order was done on 11/1, and there's been nothing else on it since then.
They filed this document on 1026, this caveat to creditor, and 11/1 there was a court order on it?
Correct. And then it said also on 11/1 that the case was set to close at that point.
Wow. I know Florida is very different. California is very different than every other state. I've interviewed some attorneys in Florida, but I would say what a nice excuse. You're in Florida. Do you have a probate attorney that you're friends with or that you would like to be friends with?
I'm working on getting a group together.
Okay. Well, maybe is there one you have a relationship with or a friend of a family member?
I do. The one that I asked, they weren't familiar with that either. They don't do a lot of probate either, though.
You might, I know there's a couple of probate attorneys that are pretty prominent in social media. Al Nicoletti is one. There's another one in the Orlando area I couldn't really get a relationship with. Jamie Burrows down in Southwest Florida. They're prominent on social media that you might just find an interview they did and put a comment in their YouTube or Facebook page and ask them that question. Okay. The other thing you might want to do is in our estate professionals mastermind, put the question there. Just put state of Florida legal question as a heading, because I know some attorneys participate there. And then also in my group, I have a Facebook group, Probate Experts. You're welcome to join as well. But the thing I find that the mistake we make in Facebook groups sometimes is kind of hide the question in the middle, put it at the top, legal question, Florida, put a space and then ask that question. And we'll see if we can get an answer that way. How's that sound?
Okay. I appreciate that, Bill. Thank you.
And if I see it in my group, I'll try to tag Al and or Jamie and see if we can't get their attention to help you with that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Fantastic. Hey, it's past the hour here, so I know we went a little long. Sorry if I went a little long today, but I thought we had some really good stuff and some good interaction. That's another good question. Another good answer. Winston, I'm sorry, who was that? Grace, you might also want to ask your title officer because they might be familiar with that particular term. So who would you use for title if you were to sell a listing? And then ask that title company representative to talk to the title officer and ask the question there. It would be another answer. Okay.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Winston Covington, great answer. Thank you for participating. Okay, let's wrap up real quick. I just want to go real fast. This is Probate Mastery. There's the website, probatemastery.com, and there's 3 programs you want to pay attention to. A new program just launched for free Lifestyle and Career Design course by Chad Corbett. That's an on-demand program that's free. Click there, get the details. I think most of you have already been through Probate Mastery. That's a certification course. But if you took EARN and not that, I would recommend you take the Probate Mastery course. EARN is a deeper dive on earning attorney relationships now. I'm sorry, earn attorney referrals now. It's a deeper way to do that. And those are the 3 programs on the website. Also, we have a public-facing Facebook group, Estate Professionals Mastermind. You're welcome to go there and ask questions like the question we just had from Grace, as well as for graduates only of this program or participants, Probate Master alumni. You can jump on there. You should all be on all 3 of those, I would say, or both those. And then I separately host probateweekly.com. I do an interview every week with prominent probate attorneys, vendors, agents across the country. It's more of an interview format on a weekly basis. And then I have a probate group, Probate Experts. Love to have you join there as well. So I'm Bill Gross. I am a broker in Los Angeles, California, doing probate. Love to help you guys. I'll see you guys in the chat rooms. Thank you for participating, everybody, today. Make today your best day ever. Thank you. And John, thank you for all your help today. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks, Bill.
All the best.